You don't need to let your bike idle before riding. Yes, you heard me. All you're doing is wasting gas. Some of the most popular rules passed down through generations of riders are not just outdated, they're dangerous. These widespread beliefs could be costing you money and even your safety. Ready to separate fact from fiction? Let's debunk these 15 motorcycle rules that are complete lies. Number 15. You'll outgrow your beginner bike in a year. That's what everyone told you when you bought your first bike. And sure, some folks upgrade fast, but thousands of riders have stayed on those beginner bikes for years and kept improving like champs. Those small displacement machines are corner-carving ninjas in disguise. Here's the truth. Skill doesn't depend on engine size. It grows with seat time. A tight, flickable 300cc bike teaches you throttle control, weight shifting, and braking limits better than a 1000cc ever could. That's why many intermediate riders stick with their smaller bikes long after the year is up. But what really holds riders back isn't engine size. It's their own ideas about what real biking means. And that brings us to the next lie. Something everyone thinks they know, but it could actually be costing you control, comfort, and even safety on the road. 14. Lane splitting is always safe. Lane splitting gets thrown around like it's some ninja skill you unlock at level 20. And yeah, done right, it can be safe, even brilliant, especially in places like California, where it's legal and drivers expect it. But calling it always safe, that's a flat-out myth. See, lane splitting depends on a perfect storm. Wide lanes, alert drivers, steady hands, and a sixth sense for sudden movement. Take away just one of those and you're riding the razor's edge. Ever seen a driver swerve without a signal? Ever caught a side mirror with your bar end? Yeah, it happens fast. And if you're not locked in, your day can go from smooth to sirens in a blink. But speaking of sketchy decisions and misunderstood tactics, there's another motorcycle myth that gets passed down like gospel, especially by that one guy at bike night who knows a guy. It's all about engine braking, and it might be messing up your ride in ways you don't even realize. 13. Engine braking will ruin your bike. Some riders talk about engine braking like it's this forbidden move that'll torch your valves and strip your gearbox. Use your brakes, not your engine, they say, like they've got an engineering degree and a pit crew. Let's clear the air. Engine braking is not dangerous. In fact, it's built into your bike's DNA. When you roll off the throttle and the revs drop, your engine helps slow you down smoothly, naturally, and with zero wear on your brake pads. That's not abuse, that's efficiency. Unless you're redlining and dumping gears like a maniac, engine braking won't damage your motor. Modern bikes, especially fuel-injected ones, are designed to handle it. It reduces brake fade, gives you better control on descents, and keeps your ride feeling connected. You're not hurting anything, you're just riding smart. So why the myth? Probably because someone overdid it and blamed the machine. Or maybe old-school riders passed down half-truths that stuck. But the truth is, proper downshifting and engine braking make you smoother, safer, and more in sync with your bike. But we're just getting warmed up. There is a myth about maintenance and believing it might just leave you stranded with a dead battery and a wallet full of regret. 12. You only need to maintain your bike once a year. If you're only checking your bike once a year, you're gambling harder than a drunk in Vegas. This lie gets passed around like it's some kind of cost-saving genius move. Oh, I only service it every 12 months, runs fine. Sure, until it doesn't. Motorcycles aren't cars. They're exposed, sensitive, high-revving machines that demand attention. Oil breaks down, chains stretch, brake fluid absorbs moisture, tires lose pressure, and batteries? They don't care how good your intentions are. Ignore them for a few months and they'll ghost you mid-ride. Now, we're not saying you need a full strip down every weekend, but regular checks, that's just smart riding. Look at your oil every few weeks. Lube your chain after wet rides. Check your tire pressure every time you fill up. These aren't chores. They're the difference between a great ride and a breakdown on the freeway shoulder while trucks scream past your ears. But while we're under the hood, let's talk about another so-called pro tip that's been killing batteries and stranding riders for years. And it sounds so innocent, you might already be doing it without even thinking. If you've reached here, then you are definitely better at detecting bike lies. Why not give us a like and subscribe to our channel for more of this? Number 11. You can let your bike idle to charge the battery. This one sounds logical, right? Fire up the bike, let it idle for a few minutes, and boom, charged battery. Problem is, motorcycles don't work that way. Not at idle, not even close. Most bikes barely charge the battery at idle, if at all. In fact, some even discharge it if your lights, heated grips, or other accessories are drawing power. The charging system only really kicks in when you're moving, typically above 3,000 RPM. Below that, you're just making engine noise. Riders who leave their bikes idling for 20 minutes in the garage thinking they're topping up the battery are just wasting gas and warming up a battery that's still on its way out. Worse, if that battery's weak to begin with, the short run time and low voltage output might not even crank it the next day. Want to actually maintain your battery? Get a trickle charger. They cost less than a tank of gas and can save your electrical system from disaster, especially if your bike sits for days or weeks without being ridden. Those little devices do more good in one night than an hour of idling ever will. Also, ride your bike regularly. Even short spins around the block are better than garage revs. Movement charges the system. Sitting still just teases it. And speaking of standing around doing the wrong thing, there's another riding lie that could mess with your control and your confidence. It's all about how you use your rear brake. And chances are, you've been told exactly the wrong thing. 10. The rear brake is useless or only for parking. This is one of the dumbest lies in the game, and somehow people still believe it. Only use your front brake, bro. The rear's just for parking. Really? Might as well ride with your shoelaces tied together. The truth? Your rear brake is critical, especially at low speeds. It's what keeps the bike steady during slow maneuvers. Think U-turns in a parking lot, riding in traffic, creeping through gravel or rain. Your rear brake is the silent MVP. Even at higher speeds, using both brakes together correctly actually shortens your stopping distance. The front does the heavy lifting, sure, but the rear adds stability and control. It helps prevent nosediving and keeps the rear wheel planted. Ever watch someone panic stop using only their front brake and end up doing a front flip? Don't be that story. Here's the part most people don't know. When you're carrying luggage or riding two up, that rear brake matters even more. It balances out the extra weight and helps prevent fishtailing. And off-road, rear braking is basically a survival skill. Now, speaking of survival, here's a myth that has crushed more dreams and kept more riders off their ideal bike than almost anything else in the sport. It's been passed around like sacred wisdom, but it's complete nonsense. 9. Never buy a bike you can't flat-foot. Let's just get this straight. You do not need to flat-foot a motorcycle. That lie has destroyed more bike-buying joy than bad credit and ex-wives combined. The idea sounds logical. Both feet on the ground must mean stability, right? But guess what? You don't ride motorcycles with your feet on the ground. You ride with confidence. And confidence doesn't care if both heels are touching. You only need one solid foot down. That's it. Lean the bike slightly, rest one foot on the peg or brake, and you're golden. Riders with short inseams have been doing this forever. It's normal, it's safe, and it works, even on tall ADV bikes. But chasing that flat foot myth will shrink your garage and your joy. Comfort, reach to the controls, handling, that's what matters. You don't need to plant both feet like a linebacker. You're not bench pressing this thing, you're riding it. Now what if I told you there's an even bigger lie? One that sells bikes like candy and feeds the egos of newbies and veterans alike. A lie that makes people think speed equals skill. 8. More horsepower means a better bike. Let's kill this lie once and for all. More horsepower does not make a bike better. It just makes the numbers on the spec sheet look cool and your ego feel bigger. That's it. Yes, power is fun. Nobody's arguing that. But horsepower doesn't make a bike rideable. It doesn't make it safe. It doesn't make it better for you. A Hayabusa pushing 200 horsepower sounds awesome until you're stuck feathering the clutch in downtown traffic and sweating like a roast pig. Here's the truth. Usable power beats max power every time. You want torque. You want throttle control. You want a bike that delivers smooth, predictable acceleration across a wide RPM range, not something that launches you into orbit every time you sneeze. Most riders never even tap into half the horsepower they buy. Ride a Yamaha MT-07 or a Kawasaki Ninja 650 for a month and then hop on a later bike. You'll see how often you're holding back, not letting loose. You're short shifting, coasting, praying your wrists don't twitch. Meanwhile, the smaller bikes are nimble, responsive, and forgiving. You ride them hard. You learn on them. You smile on them. That's what matters. The industry feeds you this lie because bigger numbers sell bikes. But more horsepower also means more heat, more fuel, more insurance, more mistakes, and more risk. And that brings us to the next lie. One that's so common, so baked into motorcycle culture, it actually turns potential riders away before they ever start the engine. It's not about numbers, it's about your body. 7. You have to be tall to ride a motorcycle. This one's been floating around longer than most riders have been alive. Somewhere along the line, people started believing that if you're under 5'10", you might as well just forget about riding. That's complete garbage. Here's the truth. Seat height and rider height are not the same thing. Plenty of bikes, even tall ADV models, can be adjusted, lowered, or customized to fit you like a glove. And modern bikes? Many now come with low seat options, narrow frames, and suspension tweaks straight from the factory. We're not in the 90s anymore. Just ask Sarah. She's 5'2", rides a Kawasaki Versys 650 with a custom seat and lowered suspension, and she's done over 30,000 miles cross-country solo. So don't tell us short riders can't ride. That's just lazy thinking. What really matters is REACH. Your inseam, your comfort when stopping, your ability to balance at low speed, all of that plays a bigger role than your actual height. You don't need both feet flat on the ground. You just need enough stability to control your bike safely. And now let's shift gears to a classic myth that's cost more people their bikes than a bad trade-in. The idea that you need to brake in your motorcycle gently, or you'll ruin the engine forever. Sounds logical, right? Well, not exactly. We are getting deeper into it. 6. You must brake in your motorcycle gently, or you'll ruin the engine. Ah yes, the sacred break-in period. You've probably heard it before. Keep it under 4,000 RPM for the first 500 miles, or you'll destroy your engine. Sounds official, sounds terrifying. Sounds like something your dealership might have told you while handing you a pamphlet full of lawyer speak. But here's the wild part. It's mostly a myth. Modern engines are precision machined, broken in at the factory, and tested under loads that would make your gentle Sunday cruise look like a tricycle ride. Sure, there are some early precautions you should take, like not bouncing off the rev limiter every 5 minutes. But babying your bike during those first miles might actually be doing more harm than good. Engine braking isn't just about safety, it's about seating your piston rings properly. That requires pressure. That means riding the bike like you actually own it, varying your RPMs, giving it a good twist now and then, and not sticking to one speed like you're on cruise control for the entire break-in window. There's even a whole school of thought out there called the Motoman method, a more aggressive break-in process that's gained a cult following among experienced riders and mechanics. These folks say your first 100 miles are the most critical for setting up a powerful, long-lasting engine, and that babying it might lead to more oil consumption and less horsepower down the road. Manufacturers still play it safe for liability reasons, and sure, it won't hurt to follow the book. But don't let fear stop you from enjoying your bike right away. Now, speaking of playing it safe, there's another myth out there that might sound smart, but could land you on your back. Let's talk about using only the rear brake. 5. Use only the rear brake, or you'll flip over the handlebars. Okay, let's clear something up right now. Unless you're riding a 12-foot-tall unicycle on a roller coaster, you're not going to flip over your handlebars from using your front brake. This one's been passed down like some sacred biker gospel. Only use the rear brake, man. That front one will throw you off like a wild bull. Please, if you're flipping forward, odds are something way worse already happened, like panic braking downhill into a semi. Here's the truth. Your front brake does most of the stopping, as in around 70% or more. It's physics. When you slow down, weight shifts forward. That means your front tire digs in and your rear tire's just back there tagging along for moral support. Using only your rear brake is like trying to stop a freight train with a rubber band. It might help a little, eventually, but if someone pulls out in front of you and all you've got is that sad little foot pedal, good luck. Now that doesn't mean you slam the front brake like you're swatting a mosquito on the lever. You've got to be smooth. Squeeze, don't grab. Think of it like slowly pulling a slice of pizza out of the box, not yanking it and flinging toppings everywhere. And yes, in low-speed parking lot situations or on loose gravel, your rear brake can be a safer tool. But for everyday riding, use both brakes like a grown-up. Your bike was designed that way. Next time someone tells you the front brake is dangerous, ask them if they also think the moon landing was faked. Now, if braking myths weren't bad enough, wait till you hear the garbage advice floating around about warming up your bike. 4. You gotta let your bike warm up for 10 minutes before riding. Really? What is this, a 1972 lawnmower with abandonment issues? This myth has been rolling around since carburetors ruled the earth. And yes, back then, warming up your engine made sense. You had to let the oil circulate, get things flowing, maybe light a smoke, scratch your beard. But modern fuel-injected bikes are not fragile babies. They don't need 10 minutes of idle meditation to prepare for the road. In fact, letting your bike idle too long can do more harm than good. You're burning fuel, fouling spark plugs, and just sitting there annoying your neighbors, all while pretending your motorcycle is sipping espresso and doing yoga stretches. Here's what the engineers say. Start your bike, let it idle for about 30 seconds to a minute, long enough to stabilize the idle and get oil flowing. Then, get moving. Riding gently for the first few minutes warms it up much faster and safer than just sitting there revving it like a maniac in a parking lot. And no, you don't need to redline it out of your driveway. Just take it easy, smooth throttle, low revs, and in no time your engine's up to temp, happy, healthy, and ready to rock. You made it to the top 3. And these final myths? They're the kind of garbage that gets repeated at every gas station hangout, every group ride, every Facebook biker group with more eagle tattoos than functioning brake lights. These myths are the reasons some riders are still stuck in the 1980s, treating their bikes like they're made of glass and dreams. But if you're here, you're smarter than that. You're ready to ride better, spend less, and laugh in the face of outdated nonsense. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe. Let's get into it. 3. Synthetic oil will wreck your engine and make it leak. Let's clear the air. Synthetic oil is not some evil liquid sent to destroy your engine. That muth needs to be dragged behind a Harley at 70 miles per hour and left in the dust. Here's where it came from. Decades ago, early synthetic oils did cause issues in some engines, mostly because of old-school seal materials and poor additive packages. Guys would swap to synthetic, and suddenly they'd see leaks. The rumor exploded, and now it's passed around biker circles like it's gospel truth. But here's the reality. Modern synthetic oils are cleaner, more stable, and way better at protecting your engine than old conventional stuff. They're engineered to be compatible with the seals and materials in today's engines. If you're riding something made after, say, the Cold War, you're probably just fine. So next time someone tells you synthetic oil will ruin your bike, smile politely, then ride off and leave them in your synthetic-powered dust. Now, if you think that myth's bad, wait till you hear the garbage advice people are spreading about tire shine. Yeah, tire shine on motorcycles. Let's talk about it. 2. You should shine your motorcycle tires to make them look better. Okay, this one right here, it's criminally stupid. If someone tells you to use tire shine on your motorcycle tires, especially on the tread, they either hate you or they want to watch you slide face first into a ditch. Let's get one thing straight. Motorcycle tires are not showpieces. They're not meant to glisten in the sun like chrome handlebars. They are your literal connection to the road. Adding something slick and shiny to the surface that's supposed to grip asphalt? That's like greasing the bottom of your shoes before going rock climbing. Tire shine products are usually silicone-based. Sure, they'll make your tires look wet and glossy, but they also make them slippery as ice in a blizzard. On cars, that shine goes on the sidewall. On a bike, you lean, meaning even a little bit of product getting onto your tread can turn your next curve into a slip and slide of doom. And don't even think about using it on the sidewalls either. Why? Because some of that crap creeps, especially when it heats up. You're out on a summer ride, tires warm up, and guess what? That tire dressing starts oozing down into the contact patch. Boom! Your traction just took a lunch break. If your tires look a little dull, you know what that means? They're doing their job. Leave them alone. Wash off the dirt, sure, but don't armor them up like they're headed to a car show. Now ready for the king of all myths? The one that's been floating around campfires and bike nights for decades? It's big, it's loud, and it's about to get smoked. Let's hit number 1. 1. Loud pipes save lives, oh boy. This is the Mount Everest of motorcycle myths. the holy grail of garage talk, the ultimate excuse for rattling windows at 2 a.m. Say it with me now, loud pipes save lives. Except they don't. Look, I get it. That deep, thunderous rumble when you twist the throttle, it feels powerful. It sounds like dominance. But here's the uncomfortable truth. By the time anyone actually hears your loud pipes, you've already passed them or you're about to. Think about it. Most of your exhaust sound is blasting out the back, not the front. Drivers in front of you, the ones who might drift into your lane, they barely hear it until you're already in their blind spot or zooming past, and by then, it's too late. What actually saves lives? Visibility, defensive riding, good gear, brakes that work, a helmet that's not 30 years old, situational awareness, lane positioning, not riding like a caffeinated maniac in a Fast and Furious sequel. Got a buddy who swears his straight pipes are keeping him alive? Send this video to him. Want to stay alive? Ride smart, be seen, anticipate stupidity. And if you really want to be heard, get a loud horn. Trust me, a 130 decibel air horn gets more attention than your slip-on exhaust ever will. If you made it this far, you're officially smarter than 90% of internet bikers. So go ahead, hit that like button, and subscribe for more.